Thank you everyone for hopping on. So this is our August 24th. I think I got the date right? Yep. Service statistics deep dive. So this is one of those mini trainings that Amanda has been doing a lot of for you all. So for anyone that hasn't met me, I'm Catherine Miller. I'm the Assistant Director of Service Insights. And I've been here for 4 years now. It's just my 4th anniversary. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about everything statistics. And I will just say in advance, it is very confusing. And I will probably be confused about some of the things that we are talking about. But I'm going to try to let you guys make it less confusing for you all. But we'll all figure it out together. So, okay, there we go. I started recording. Good for me. Jen and Terry, if you want to just introduce yourselves verbally really quickly so everyone like kind of wave at people and say your position, that would be cool.
Hi, I'm Terry. I'm the Service Insights Coordinator. I help people use Service Insights and Meal Connect and Fresh Track.
And I'm Jen Bertrand. I'm the Data and Evaluation Manager. And so I do sort of everything related to numbers and summarizing and making sense out of them. And also a lot around surveying for programs. Great to be here.
Awesome. Okay. And then I see everyone putting things in the chat. So thank you. Keep it up. Okay. The first test, we're going to try to do a poll. We'll see if it works. So the question in the poll is, how does your agency currently keep track of service statistics? And hopefully you're seeing it up. There's choices, Fresh Track. Yep, I see people starting to respond, so that's good. So we've got Fresh Track or Pantry Track, another online platform, Excel or another spreadsheet, paper, or we don't keep track of service statistics at all, or there's an other option. And I guess if you select other, put that in the chat. I imagine a lot of folks on here are going to be Fresh Track and Pantry Track users, but not everyone. And this is not just for Fresh Track users. And if you don't know what that word means, I will explain it as well. Let's see, we've got almost 100% participation. I think we're good if we want to end it and just share results. Terry, see if it works. Cool. Are people seeing results? Can I get like a okay, awesome. So as you can see, 10 out of the 12 people responding said they use Fresh Track or Pantry Track, which, like I said, I'll explain more, but it's used by over half of our regular food pantry partners, not used by meal sites at this point, or some other types of agencies. But it is this online client intake system. So it's not surprising that a lot of people said yes to that one. Looks like we have 2 folks that use paper and no one with any of the other options. So good to know who's on here. And yeah, I think Terry, if you want to stop sharing and we can move forward. Awesome. Okay. Great. So what are we talking about today? HIPNAP. Well, so first we're going to talk about HIPNAP and TFAP requirements, and I will explain what those acronyms are if anyone doesn't know. Then I'm going to go through events and statistics on Fresh Track. Then we'll have some examples from agencies. Then Jen B is going to hop on with some data requests information, and then we'll have time for questions. Like I said, feel free to unmute throughout or put something in the chat if you do want to ask a question. And I'll try to keep this, I know statistics sounds kind of boring, so we'll try to keep it nice for you guys. But and then before I got into the depth of things, I wanted to say, what are you going to learn from today's session? Like, why are you here? So 3 main things that I would hope you take away are what distributions count as a 3-day package for monthly service statistics. Now, this is just for pantries. I know some of you, if you're a meal site or a different agency, you might be like, what's a 3-day package? So don't worry too much about that. But for pantries, understanding what distributions count as a 3-day package, learning about other types of distributions that other agencies conduct and how they track them. And then also just understanding why are statistics important for the food bank and why are they important for your agency. So if you learn that by the end, we'll have done a good job. And then there we go, learning puzzle pieces. Beautiful photo from online. Hopefully it's not plagiarism. We'll see. Okay, so getting into the acronyms piece. So we'll reference it a lot throughout. So just to cover what these things are, HIPNAP is the Hunger Prevention and Nutrition Assistance Program. This is run through New York State. And you probably recognize this from many of our partner agencies receiving funding from HIPNAP for operation support, capital equipment, and or for food. So I got some little photos here as a visual. There we are getting a fridge. It's our equipment, food, and money. Always good. And then TFAP is the Emergency Food Assistance Program. That's a federal program, although it is run through the state. And that's where you're going to see a lot of the food that is available for free on our menu. I forgot to check before this. I'm not sure if all of the food that's available for free is TFAP or just some of it, but I figured you all would know better than I do. So if anyone wants to jump in on the chat, you can do that. But there's your little grocery bag because that's where you're getting a lot of the food from. And then even if not every agency receives HIPNAP funding, but our statistics reporting is aligned with the HIPNAP guidance, even if your agency is not a HIPNAP fund recipient. But there are some agencies that choose not to distribute TFAP food. And if you choose not to distribute TFAP food, you are not subject to this guidance I'm going to talk about with the attestation for pantries. So hopefully that sets things up a little bit for you. Let me check my notes and see if there was anything I wanted to say besides that. No, that is good. Okay. So requirements for HIPNAP and TFAP through us. You have to provide food to anyone the first time they come to your agency. That's even if they don't fall into your service area, they're from visiting, they're from outside of the region that you all serve. And that's from HIPNAP rules. If you get HIPNAP funding, you have to be open to anyone the first time they come. Then clients receiving TFAP food at pantries. So this is not true at mobile food pantries or meal sites, but pantries, they have to fill out a self-attestation annually saying that they are in need of food. Again, if you don't take TFAP food, I know at least one pantry doesn't receive TFAP food, you don't have to do the attestation. But for anyone that does receive TFAP, if they don't qualify, if the client doesn't qualify for TFAP or chooses not to fill out the attestation, you should still offer them non-TFAP food. Okay. Then pantries, this is going back to HIPNAP. This is coming from HIPNAP. Pantries have to offer a 3-day package of food at least once per month. And this is, like I said, if you are not categorized as a pantry, you might be categorized as like an other agency with us. You're not going to have that requirement for how much food needs to be offered. I will link in the notes when I send everything out, but Amanda did a training a few months ago on the 3-day package specifically, and like going through examples of different foods that would make up a 3-day package. So I will share that as well and would recommend seeing that if you're interested in learning more. But those are our requirements. Going forward into the 3-day package a bit more. First of all, I did want to say that it's 3-day package or more. So I know a lot of you offer 5-day packages, 6-day packages, because we know that folks often need more than 3 days worth of food. So this is just a minimum from HIPNAP. In order to count things towards your statistics, you have to offer at least a 3-day package, but we encourage you to often offer more if you're able to. So anytime I say 3-day here, you can replace that with 3-day or more package in your mind. So a 3-day package can't just be your personal idea of what 3 days of food looks like. You can't give them like a mega box of mac and cheese and be like, this is enough for 9 meals. That's not a 3-day package. It has to follow the guidelines that New York State sets for a certain number of choices across the food groups. And this is based entirely on what is available to the client, not what they choose to take. They could show up and decide just to take a gallon of milk. And if you gave them the option to get a 3-day package, they count for your statistics. And so here's just a visualization of the different food groups. So we've got fruits and vegetables, dairy, nuts. I forgot to say what that one's actually called. You'll see it on the next slide, but this type of protein foods, and then like grains. So the next slide, this is just a quick, hopefully this is familiar to all the pantry folks, but this is a quick visualization of what the 3-day pantry package looks like. And in a chart here based on the number of people in the household, how much you have to give out. So let's see what it's actually called. Vegetables and fruit, proteins. Okay, I was right with that. meat, non-meat, and dairy, and then grains. Again, we delved more into this in Amanda's training that she did previously, but I just wanted to kind of remind folks if they hadn't been there. So, okay. Now we're getting into the reporting piece, which is why I'm bringing up the 3-day packages, because I know it's very confusing for agencies because sometimes they allow folks to come more often to get a smaller amount of food in addition to their 3-day package that could be limited to once a month. And so it can be tricky to know how to count this, like where do you report it? What benefits are you getting? So this is definitely not, you're not required to do different sizes of distributions. You could just let people get a 3-day package every time they come, but some pantries do feel like they need to manage inventory and make sure they don't run out. So they do put some limitations on that. And then just to elaborate on that, we have in our client survey data, we've found that a lot of folks need more than a 3-day package once a month. So whether that's getting a 3-day package a few times a month or getting a larger package of food at one time, it really depends on the family, but that's why we do encourage you to consider beyond a 3-day package or multiple visits per month. Also, just to consider clients, if you do have limitations and say you can get a 3-day package once a month, clients might already be visiting multiple pantries to get enough food. And maybe it would be easier for them if they could just visit your pantry multiple times to get that food instead of traveling farther. So something to consider, although they are welcome to go to multiple pantries if they choose to shop that way. Okay, so just to be clear here, a package that's smaller than a 3-day is not going to count towards monthly stats. Again, this is what you're offering, not what they're taking. They could take a smaller amount and that counts. I also want to talk about turkeys, hams, and holiday baskets, which probably took me like 3 years to kind of understand what's happening with them because it's very confusing. Here we go. We got our little turkeys and hams. So the easiest ways that you're going to track these and count them in your statistics is that if you give out your turkeys and hams as just part of someone's normal visit throughout the month, that's fine. That counts as a normal pantry visit. You don't even need to like specify that they were getting a ham at that time. Or if you're going to have a special distribution, sometimes people will be open like on a Saturday and it's just the holiday box or turkey pickup. If you also open your pantry and let people come and get a 3-day package that day, in addition to the ham and turkey, you can count them as a full 3-day package, even if the person just gets the ham or turkey. It's all about access and like what you are making available to them. So that's the easiest way that lets you count everyone. I see Mary has a question. Let me just get to the end of this slide and then I'll pop on for you. So yes, if you don't allow access to the rest of the pantry, it's not going to count towards your monthly stats. And a reminder that if the holiday basket includes any TFAP food, your clients need to sign a current attestation during that year for TFAP food, even if this is the only time they're coming to your pantry. Okay, Mary, I saw you put your hand down, but do you have anything you want to say at this point?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So just the way you were presenting it. So we do a Saturday. And so, and I really just found this out like last year, the year before, whenever I was told, that we couldn't include those on your statistics, which is something I'll talk about later. But if we gave, I'm not saying we're doing this, but if people came in, they're all registered to come in to get their turkeys and they get their turkeys and we offered them the option to come inside and get food or to go over there and pick up food. And they turned us down. Can that count?
That counts as long as it's, that counts as long as it's an additional visit. Because I think you all allow folks to come twice a month usually, right?
Right.
So this would have to be a third time. So or you couldn't
I'm not saying, that would be, I have no idea how we would handle that since we're giving away like several hundred in like a short period of time. That said, I just wanted to ask that question because perhaps other people have the ability to do that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
Okay.
you bringing that up and that example. So yes, just to be clear, in Mary's example, if you normally let people come 2 times a month and you're open this special Saturday for the holiday distribution, this would be an additional free time they could come. And it's not counting as one of their 2 visits. So if you do it that way and they choose not to come in, that still counts. You just couldn't do it if you said this could count as your 2nd visit for the month and then they choose not to come. It's complicated. I could talk through individual situations with people, especially as the holidays approach, because it is confusing, as you can see. So we'll keep going, but again, feel free to keep putting stuff in the chat or jumping in with questions. So anytime that you're offering a client less than a 3-day package, you should still track it, which Mary and some other folks from pantries are going to mention later. But it's not counting for your monthly stats that you submit to the food bank. Hold on, I'm getting some background noise from someone, I think. Oh, never mind, it's back. Okay, we're good. So anytime you're giving less than a 3-day package, you still want to track it, because even though it doesn't count for the food bank statistics you're reporting to us, it does count for your HIPNAP Operation Support Capital Equipment Grant. And so I included just a screenshot here. I don't know if this is exactly how it looks on your end. This is how it looks on like the administrator end for us, but this is from a recent, maybe last year's HIPNAP or this year's HIPNAP application, but you can see the criteria that they're including for application scoring. The first one that comes up here is the average number of people served per month. So that is influencing the amount of funding that you get. And then when you look at the part that you guys are actually filling in, this I'm pretty sure looks different maybe than what you guys see, but this is what it looks like on the back end. You can see they've got regular food distributions, but they also have extra food distributions. Like if you're doing, that would be a 1-day package, bread and produce only, or they also have this holiday baskets only section. So that's where you could put the holiday baskets if they weren't counting as a 3-day package. And this still does get considered. It's just not a 3-day package. So it's a little bit different. So when it comes to reporting statistics, every agency has to report their service statistics for the previous month in PWW, which is Primaria's web window. You have to report that by the 5th of the month. If you are on Fresh Track and we pull your statistics for you, it's the 3rd of the month. So for anyone that is not on Fresh Track yet, but interested in it, that is something to think about, is that you do not need to worry about submitting your own statistics by the 5th of the month anymore, because we will actually pull them from Fresh Track for you. You just need to make sure Fresh Track is up to date by the 3rd to give us enough time to pull them all and still not get you blocked out of ordering. And then this is just a screenshot for anyone that's not familiar with what it looks like to submit statistics. Again, I hope this is what it looks like for your side. I feel like sometimes I steal these screenshots and they're just the administrator side, but this is where you're adding statistics on a monthly basis of how many folks were served. I think so my next slide is just specifically laying out what service statistics you're reporting based on the type of agency. So if you're a food pantry, you're reporting households, children, adults, and seniors. And this is where you can see seniors are 60 plus. They used to be 65 plus, but New York State HIPNAP guidelines changed in July. So as of July, instead of 65 plus, seniors are 60 plus. Don't worry too much if you happen to miss that and we're off a little bit in your July statistics. That's okay. It's not a huge deal if it's like a 5-year gap. You may remember that you used to have to report individuals, but we removed that requirement because we can just total the children, adults, and seniors and get individuals. So you have 4 things to report. School food centers, I don't think we have any of you on the call, but maybe we do. And in that case, that would be exciting. They have to report the same things as pantries, but we are also asking you to report the number of snacks that are given out if, in addition to pantry visits, you have folks coming in just for snacks through the snack program. And for both the pantries and the school food centers, the households, children, adults, and seniors is just for your 3-day packages or more. Then meal sites and shelters, you don't have to worry about the 3-day package thing, and you don't need to worry about households. You're just reporting the number of children, adults, and seniors. And if you're at a kids farmers market, again, I'm not sure if we have any of you on here, or backpack programs, some of you have to report the number of children receiving produce. Again, for everyone here, you probably, when you submitted statistics, you used to see like 7 different slots, I think, that were asking for things. And I think might have asked for like male and female counts, even though we didn't actually ask for that. So I did go and clean that up. So you should just see the number of slots that you need to fill in. And if it looks incorrect for you, contact us and we can update it on our end. Kerm has a question, Terry said. Okay, do you want to hop in, Kerm?
Yeah, a quick question. We do, we call them grab and goes, weekend grab and goes, that's snacks and so forth for the kids. But we do it through the school. So we're doing in middle school and high school, for example. Are the middle school or the school district counting those as snacks, do you know? Or aren't they being counted at all somewhere?
That's funny. You have a real echo, Kerm. You sound like I don't know, like you're in a movie, but it's okay. I could hear what was happening. I'm not sure about those schools because I know there's a few other pantries that do this too. Like you distribute food to the schools that then distribute it. Like there's some stuff going on there. So maybe we can follow up afterwards and see, because I'm honestly just starting to learn a bit about the non-pantries. I've lived in the pantry world for a while, so I'm just learning like what do the meal sites and shelters do? So yeah, maybe we circle back on that later, Kerm.
I will ask our school. That's going to be the easiest way, probably. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, sounds good. I love that echo. It's like sounds like you're in a sporting arena doing like an announcement. Okay, so we've got another poll here because this obviously seems like a lot. So why are we worrying about statistics? Why do you need to submit the statistics as an agency? Well, we want to know who you think the food bank has to provide stats to. And if I did this correctly, you should have the option to select multiple answers. But if I did it incorrectly, we'll just figure it out and it'll be fine. So hopefully you guys are seeing the poll. There's a bunch of options there. We've got the state. Yep, I see some answers coming in. So the state, USDA, Feeding America, national organization, county governments, funders, the board of directors, elected officials, Catholic Charities, the Feeding New York State organization, school districts, so many. And we'll see if I remember what the correct answers are. See things rolling in. Okay, give it a little bit longer. We've got like 11 folks answering so far. Okay, I think we can call it good and end the poll. I think we're close enough, Terry. All right, so we've got, let's see, it looks like the most responses were for New York State, then the Feeding New York State organization, then Feeding America National Organization and the Food Bank Board of Directors. We got some votes for USDA, funders, county governments, elected officials, Catholic Charities had a bunch there, and we had a few for school districts. Okay, so let me try to remember, what are the answers? We do have to report, we definitely have to report to Feeding America National Organization. We report to New York State, multiple departments. There's the HIPNAP department, Department of Health, the Office of General Services. I don't believe we report to USDA, but now I'm realizing I should have checked and written the answers down. But the point is, there are a lot of agencies that we are reporting to. I know we report to county governments when they, depending on funding that we're getting or things they're requesting. We definitely report to funders. We have all these different grants that we receive funding for, and they need to know what's happening in our counties. The board of directors needs to see. We will share stats with elected officials. I think Catholic Charities as well. Maybe the answer was all of these. As you can tell, there's a lot going on. There's a lot we do have to report statistics to. So just kind of, this was more to make you think about, because I think sometimes we think, oh, the food bank just needs these for like they need to report it to the state or something. But it's actually all these different reasons that we need to know how many folks are being served across the agencies and across our counties. So if you want to stop sharing, Terry, that would be good. Thank you. Okay. All right. So then just to continue on this why do statistics matter piece, here's my best attempt at a little visualization for you. So here are all your little pantries spread around. Could be big pantries too. And then here's New York State. And we have our 6 counties that we cover: Broome, Chemung, Tioga, Tompkins. Oh no, I should have done this in alphabetical order because now I'm forgetting someone, but you guys know who you are. So all these little pantries have their little service statistic numbers. And then we take that together and we can see where there are gaps. And then we might send a mobile food truck there, or we invest more resources there or something. So this helps us figure out how to target our resources. Hope everyone appreciates my attempt at making this little visualization. I know it's a little silly, but so just to explain more, why statistics matter. This helps us decide where to expand our strategic partnerships. Like I was saying, mobile food pantries, new pantries that want to come on board, other ways we can support folks. This helps us get funding and resources. This determines both how much funding we get overall from like New York State and different funders like that as a food bank and network. And it also determines how much funding you get as your individual pantry as a chunk of the pie. This helps us target services towards certain populations. So if we see that we're serving a lot of seniors, maybe we're going to want to offer smaller amounts of food in that region than a place that we know is serving lots of big families. This helps you understand your agency's impact as well as the entire network of pantries and partners impact. This helps us with advocacy around food insecurity, so we can show elected officials how much need there is, and we can show them the impact of policy decisions they make, like cutting SNAP benefits and other things like that. And here's my little pictures. We got a handshake for, what was that for? Oh, deciding where to expand. Yeah, that's my strategic partnership thing, shaking hands. And then we got some advocacy, and then we've got money, which everyone always wants. Okay. So I promise we're getting to the end of me talking, and we'll have a few agencies hop on with some words, and then Gen V will talk. But I just wanted to quickly show what Fresh Track is for anyone that's not familiar with it. And for those of you that do use Fresh Track, you'll probably notice this looks a little weird. Yes, it does look a little different than yours. This is just our test site, and I guess I took a screenshot of a weird day. So there's a bunch of canceled visits, and there's weird like check-in number thing on the side. So don't worry about that. But this is just to show you many of our pantries use this platform called Fresh Track. I think there's 55 of them right now. It's an online system. So you just need a device that accesses the internet, and then you use it to enter clients as they come into the pantry, and then you can run reports. We can pull your statistics from it and put them in Primaria's web window. And it's helpful for a lot of cool things. There's also a new upcoming version of Fresh Track called Service Insights on Meal Connect. It looks a little different, but it's also an online client intake platform, and we'll do the same things and hopefully do it better. Let's see. And this is just an example of what the reporting looks like in Fresh Track right now. So this is some random pantry that I chose. And this chart is showing us for some time period, probably a month, it's probably what I chose. It's giving us both the unduplicated, which is the unique number of households and individuals that are served across the month, and then the all service events or duplicated. So the difference between this is that if someone comes to a pantry 3 times in the month, they're going to show up once in the unduplicated or unique column, but they'll show up 3 times in the all service events column. So this is really cool because you can actually see how often folks are coming. How is it the larger families that come more often, things like that. So right here, I just highlighted the 4 things that you need to report as a pantry. So that's households, and then the number of kids, adults, and seniors. And as we were mentioning earlier, yes, this is updated in Fresh Track. You can see that the age category, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but it says seniors 60 plus years old. It used to say 65 plus. So it is calculating this correctly now. Okay, so now I have some examples from pantries, hopefully if folks are on. I know Mary is on. And then I think Deb is on, and then I was gonna see if Pat Walp had happened to hop on, or if she would let me just speak about her pantry, if not. But questions that, and the folks that are going to speak can speak about whatever they want to, and they don't need to answer all these questions, but some things that we kind of thought about they might want to consider talking about are how often can clients come to their pantry? Are there limits on how much food they can get if they've already been there that month? In addition to your regular pantry, do you hold any other events? How do you track them? Are they 3-day packages or not? So first I was going to have Corning talk, and before I have Mary jump on, this is just a screenshot of what their Fresh Track account looks like. They've got a whole bunch of different events listed here, which Mary will talk about. And then I just took a little screenshot of one of their months of data. So you can see they do have some folks being served multiple times throughout the month. But I'll let Mary jump in with whatever she wants to say now.
Okay. So we do, can you put those questions back up again so that I
Oh,
can?
yeah.
Yeah, just make sure I'm hitting on all that. So clients can come twice a month. And so with that, Catherine mentioned we have some special distributions to some of the housing complexes, Stewart Park Apartments, and it was Lampier Court for a while, and then it changed to Badger Creek. And that happened because during COVID, we didn't see them. So we were kind of wondering what was going on. So that following spring, so I think it started in the spring of 2021, we started having them sign up like paper-wise through their main office. And then we got intake forms on them and we input them into the computer. And then my volunteers go there, check them off the list, and we mark them as served type of thing. So that counts as a 3-day, but then they could also come to the pantry another time because we can't possibly deliver 2 bags of food that's going to satisfy the needs for families. It's just not. So it was always in, and since it started with them, we just kind of opened it up to everybody. Everybody could come in twice a month. Do we have people that come in 3 times, maybe even 4 times? Of course we do. Sometimes I think it's just they don't remember. So we will give them, something that we might do is, if it's a bigger household and they're allowed to get, 4 meats, let's say, maybe they can only get 2. Or if they get 2 meats, maybe they're only selecting 1. Or if it's their 4th time, maybe they're only getting non-perishables, like non-perishable, like what did they call, like non-meat proteins. When I saw the peanut butter, that's what I was thinking of, like non-meat proteins, those type of things, as well as soups and so forth. But the non-perishables, they're coming for the meats. I was at a kind of a quiet opening for the VA. They're trying to start a kitchen. And there was a woman sitting beside me who didn't realize that I was a pantry person. And she was like telling them, you've got to have a freezer and a refrigerator. We want meat, we want eggs. And like, that's what they want. We all know that. So that might be, we usually don't deny it on the 3rd visit, but it might be, especially if it's a pattern, if it happens, 1 month and it hasn't happened for like, a year, that's fine. We let them come in and that 3rd time they get it. And it has emptied the shelves a little bit more doing that. But so there is that tendency to have them get less if they're coming in more than the twice a month. And so the other events that we do and how we track them, we track just about everything in Pantry Track. I always submit our own stats rather than having Catherine or Terry do it, because during the school year, we have a school group of kids come in and, we have appointments. So that's like a freebie. So some of those families are getting, they're coming in 3 times a month to get food because they're coming in on an event that's an invitation only. The pantry's open really just for them, not during our regular hours of operation. So, and so we will report that to them because they're getting probably 5 days worth of food. But other events that I've done, like I do Code Blue bags, which are listed there, but I don't really report them into them because the information that I was receiving was just like, not very good. So I don't report it to the food bank. I just use it for my own statistics at the end of the year. So the things that I turn into them, because it's only a day's worth of food. And sometimes they're getting it. It's usually only seasonal during code blue season, which is in the winter. But that's kind of it. I think Fresh Track or Pantry Track is really, it was stellar. I can remember when we opened at our current location and we all transitioned to do this. And there were a lot of hiccups initially, but it is truly a great thing because it's, doing the attestation online, super simple. There are times when I'm out at the grocery store and my intake person has my cell number and they're texting me or even calling me and I'm on my phone and I'm pulling it up and I'm figuring it out for them. So, and that's not something I could do if I wasn't on that. So that's why I always, I'm the poster child for Fresh Track. I think it's awesome. Pantry Track. I have my reservations out on the new one just because we still do one drive-through day and I am not looking forward to seeing how that all goes over. But I remind myself it's just one day. It might be hard one day a week and that's okay. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm able to go in and use those statistics for when we're presenting to somebody that we want to be a sponsor for a particular event. I can then go to Fresh Track rather than, the paper stuff that we have or possibly even, I do use Excel to kind of track stuff on my own too. But I can always go to Fresh Track on my phone and kind of look up and get some information offhand, which is, kind of cool to be able to do that, especially if I bump into this person at Aldi's and say, yeah, your support is so important because look at this. This will help us affect this area of people that we're able to serve now that we wouldn't be able to do without your support. So it's good. I like it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can't
Mary.
imagine doing it without it. So
Great. And I did just want to show people on Fresh Track, you can see I kind of hid a few of the events, so they're only available from the drop down so that people wouldn't get confused when they were doing intake. The intake people only had pantry and then code blue. So that's also something we could do here where it's kind of hidden. So then if Deb is on, I forgot to check and see if you were on, but are you here? Let me see. I'm actually, oh yeah, Deb is here.
There, yeah.
Perfect.
So we are, we've been open 5 afternoons daily for our full service pantry for quite a number of years. And that's considered the 3-day package. And people are restricted to once a month unless there are extraneous circumstances. Extenuating, that's what I'm trying to think of. And when the pandemic started and so much extra gleaning of food, food rescue was going on, we received a lot of extra like fresh produce, baked goods, and other like proteins and stuff like that as a result of this, the extra gleaning. And so we were allowed to open up a separate service that we started in our site location, which is the Salvation Army in Ithaca. And that service is also open 5 days a week when at the same time that our regular pantry is open. And people are allowed to come and access that service every day, as many times as they want. And so these this other level of service we track as a visit to the table, the gym tables, rather than a visit to the pantry. Because a visit to the gym tables doesn't necessarily, although it could, it doesn't necessarily give you 3 days worth of food. And we have we've had some interesting outcomes of that, statistics wise. Previous to opening that extra service up, we got maybe 10% of our households were seniors, 10% of the people that we served. And when we opened up the browsing tables, the gym tables, we found that our seniors exploded to about 50% of our people served. And so we really felt good about that. And they, in coming to the gym tables, they also found out about the pantry goods. So they are also kind of adding to our seniors that use the pantry itself, which is the 3-day foods, mostly non-perishables, and the gym tables, which is mostly produce and bread. We've opened up a lot more of volunteer hours and anyway, that's the way we've done. Did you have any other questions about it?
I think that's good. Yeah, I just wanted people to see. I'm going to show Elmira Salvation Army as well. They do something similar, but just the idea that, yeah, you can have this pantry and then the table. And the way this shows up under the service summary, pantry is pantry choice 3-day, and then we have table coding as special perishables only. But you can see for this month, I don't even know if I picked a full month, but we've got 203 households under pantry and 390 under the special perishables only. So yeah, so just to say that you can track things that are not a 3-day visit on here as well. And then to show the example from Salvation Army, they do the same thing, but they call it daily and monthly. So monthly is their pantry, and then daily is you could come every day and get it, but it's not a full 3-day package. So we do have that for them as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm gonna scoot. I've got a 2:00 meeting.
Sounds good. I forgot about you having that deadline. Thank you for talking to us.
Sure. See you later. Bye.
Okay. So we're almost done. Let me just check and make sure Pat Walt is not on here.
I am.
Yes.
I'm on here.
Oh, Pat, where'd you come from?
I'm sitting on your head.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we already talked earlier. Okay. Well, so I don't know if I don't think you responded to my email, so this might be out of the blue,
did.
But
I did respond, but who knows?
Okay, well, I thought that Pat might want to talk because they allow folks to come every week and they just have their one event, but I thought she might want to talk about that and kind of if there was any pushback on letting people come every week.
Yeah, traditionally, I think since the pantry opened, it always has been weekly. We have grown steadily over the years, and now, well, as you can see, we probably average, this is our normal, 120 families to upwards to 145, and sometimes 150 come in every week. And we have always, we do the 3-day, but it's probably more like 4 days, because we do partner with Friendship Donations in Ithaca, where we get rescued food, fresh produce, fruit, whatever. So we do have a good supply of that. But we've had some very generous donations of food. It always seems to come through somewhere. Last year we were way down on meat, and because of the prices we're trying to get through, and 3 farmers stepped up and donated a whole cow. One did 2 cows and the other did 2 or 1 apiece. So we were very lucky in that respect. But the people that come in, most of them are, they need more than 3-day supply of food. And I've had other people question it. And my response is, when you go grocery shopping, do you only buy 3 days supply of food? Some people shop every week, some once a month, but it would be hard to get a month's worth of supply out of what we could provide on a weekly basis. So yeah, we do provide, and we open our doors to anyone. During the pandemic, the food bank had said, be generous to your neighbors. And we had a lot of people from outlying places because so many had closed. And one of what I consider a prized part of our pantry is we do home deliveries. And we don't just put food in a box and take it to them. I have 3 devoted women who they know what's going to be on the menu that week, and they actually call them to get their choices, because our philosophy is they should have the same choice that anybody that is able to come through the door and make a selection. So, and then that morning, we're open every Wednesday. They come in at 9 and they pack all those boxes, and we're up to 47 people one week and about 45 the other week. And we have 2 vans that deliver these to the people. We're getting more and more people every day. This past week, we gained 2 more individuals. And that is, we're really proud of the fact that, there are that many families who wouldn't get food if we weren't there to help them. So that's what we do here.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat. So yeah, just to emphasize what Pat was saying, you can see here the average visits per family. We're not seeing 4 visits per family as an average. You're seeing a little over 2. So it means a lot of folks are coming 2 times. There's probably folks coming every week and folks coming 3 times. And there's a lot of folks that are just coming 1 time in the month. So people come as often as they need to. And it doesn't mean you're going to see 140 of the same people coming every single time. Awesome. So thank you to the 3 pantries that spoke about this. I'm going to skip this because of time, but if anyone wants to put it in the chat, if anyone that didn't speak wants to just say, put any services or events they track that are different than a 3-day pantry, or if you're not a 3-day pantry, just tell us about what services you do. Feel free to put that in the chat, but I'm going to move on for time, because now it's Gen B's portion. And I know I told you, Jen, that we should be done by 1:45 with your portion. Obviously, we're not going to do that.
Sure.
Just talk for 5 minutes and you'll be good. So I'll let you go.
Good. Okay, great. So basically, as I mentioned at the beginning, I do a lot of the numbers. People want to know how many people are being served. And so I have access to all of that information. So in general, a lot of you may already have some simple service statistics that you already have access to. There's reporting features in FreshTrack that you may already be trained up on. As Catherine mentioned, or she may not have mentioned, but we did have a past training about sort of accessing the service insights, the FreshTrack information. So that's available in the partner portal. But for more complex needs, we also have on the partner portal, you can see where my little green arrow is, this FBST Community Impact Report Request Form, a very big name, but that's basically where you can request data yourself that may be more than what you have access to for your own pantry or your own program. So what that form looks like is, first off, there's a question about the type of report, and we use the same form with other partners as well. For your purposes, you really can't answer this incorrectly. Mostly it's probably going to be agency, something specific to your agency, but it could also be something around service insights and FreshTrack that maybe you don't know how to pull on your own. Or it could be what we call impact, which is reports that maybe are broader than just your agency, and we can get into that more as well. So the place where we're really going to get the information that we need is the subsequent questions. So this one, what report information are you requesting? I can't say enough how, as specific as you can be about what you're trying to answer through data, the better I can get the data available for you. So a couple of things to keep in mind of is, is it just your agency you want data for, or are you looking for data for your whole county? Do you want to know about the people served for, Tioga County in general? We could also talk about congressional districts if you're trying to, make a case with someone legislatively, or even down to like census tracts. So, there's a lot of ways to slice and dice it. And if you're not sure, you can put this in here as well. So then I think that kind of sums up, the other thing though is a lot of times the date range is very important. Are you looking for the last calendar year, for 2022? Are you looking for year to date for 2023? Or is it something else? Is it the last 12 months? So just be thinking about, what the purpose is for your data and what time frame you want it for. Some of the other things is, we have some folks want to know about people served. Some people want to know about households served. So try and give us that information as well. Or is it something about the pounds of food or the types of food that you're distributing? Maybe grantors want to know something about produce. We can provide that to you if you don't have that available. Or if you're trying to find out, how much of your grant funds have been exhausted, we can provide that as well. If you've gotten this information from us before, always helpful to upload, that report so we can be sure we're comparing apples to apples. And, if I ran the data one time and somebody else is running it another time, that is kind of the best way to know. If you don't have it, not a big deal. Again, how is this information going to be used? It just helps me to know if I'm giving you what you need. And this next question on the next slide is kind of along those lines of who's your intended audience. So it may be that you want to do a news interview, but sometimes all of that just helps me to know if I'm really giving you what you need. And possibly most important is, when do you need this information by? We do say that we need 2 weeks because of, there could be a lot of requests for information. That's not to say if you're coming in under the wire, not to submit a request. We will always do the best we can to get you the information we need. It just might mean that I can't give you everything, I can give you a certain segment of it. And certainly whenever we can get a full month, that's awesome. But I know sometimes you're filling out a grant that's due in 3 days. Still submit it, and we will get you as much as possible to help and make sure that you can get what you need. But certainly if it's less than 2 weeks, there could always be the chance that we can't get it in there. So always sort of that planning ahead, but whenever we can, we will. So that's a very quick summary. I know we're getting short on time. So if you need more, let us know.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a final poll just about what describes your experience on today's call. So Terry, if you can start that one. Did you already know everything we discussed? Did you learn some things that will be helpful? Did you learn a lot? Just helps us know how things went. And then I left space for questions, but we have to get off the Zoom soon because the Tompkins Coalition is using the same Zoom account. So I told her we'd be off by 1:59. So I will say if anyone has any questions, please follow up with me offline, or you can give me a call or something like that. So I'm sorry we didn't have time for questions. It always takes longer than I think it will. But if we want to end the poll now, it looks like no one knew everything, which is good because I didn't even know everything. Most people learned some things, and a third of the people said they learned a lot. So awesome. That's good to know. And then I saw Jen B put in the chat, and we'll also make sure to include this in the follow-up email as well, but that we have quarterly data available through Google if you want to look by county, see what's going on. That's a resource as well. Okay, so I see Mary's direct message saying I should have given her a time limit. That's all right, Mary. I should have given myself a time limit too. So thank you, everyone. As I said, we'll send out the instruction or the follow-ups after the notes and things like that. But we appreciate you all being on the call. And if you do have any questions, feel free to follow up with us. Thank you.